Okay, it is now time for the Week 10 fantasy show. We are getting very close to the end of the season as these matchups become bigger and bigger as we find out who's going to make the playoffs. We will look at last week 9 matchups, starting with my matchup versus Matt. As quite a few people last week predicted, including myself, it was probably going to be a lower scoring affair, and it was, as I picked up a big win, 97 to 86, to put me to 5-4 and move Matt down to 6-3 as he was in that tie for first last week. No longer. Kind of a rough matchup between us, both under 100, but I'm happy to get a little bit of fortune with my lowest scoring week of the season so far and be able to pull out a win against Matt. Really, it came down to Matt benching T. Higgins. He had 19 big points and he started Thielen instead, and that was the difference in the matchup. As I had Burrow on Sunday night, and he had a big game for me to kind of negate whatever Diggs did to keep me in the lead. And Matt didn't have T. Higgins in his lineup, so that helped me a lot in this matchup. It could have easily went the other way if he started his the right wide receivers, but he chose Thielen instead of Higgins on this night. So I'm happy to get the win to stay out of that
Whoa.
muck of the 4-5 at the bottom end of the playoff spectrum. So big win for me to get off the schneid as I'd lost 3 in a row. Anybody want to make any comments about this matchup?
You did start the white wide receiver.
He did start the white wide receiver, and it was not the right wide receiver.
Matt's team falling back down to earth.
Yes. As you have pointed out, he has a low points for this year, or points against, I mean. So he's had some fortune so far this season when he was strong in first place, and he's kind of reverted back a little bit. Gino was a rough quarterback start. It is interesting for Matt's team, though, that he does have Fields, who will be coming back eventually, and then he also, I believe, he has Kyler Murray on IR, who might be coming back this week. So he does have some options to fill the quarterback, as Gino does not look like he might be it going forward. But it also comes down to does Matt start the right wide receivers because he's got 4 really good ones.
Well,
Um,
T. Higgins is not going to play this week, so
oh,
me.
is he confirmed out yet? Or
Well, he suffered a hamstring injury
oh,
today.
oh,
It was
okay.
apparently very
Well
bad.
then
It's
I guess
apparently
it's
quite
easy
bad.
for Matt for this week to
So,
decide. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Any comments before we move on? All right. Moving on then to the next one of last week. We had Zombie picking up a win, another low scoring game,
Mickey
as
Mouse win.
was a little bit of a surprise. Not from Pussy's side, as we all knew Pussy's team, with all his buys, was going to shit the bed. We all predicted that. But it was a little bit of a surprise that Zombie's team only put up 93 points. But it was an easy 22-point victory for Zombie to move to 7-2, now solo first place for Zombie after what happened in some of the other matchups. So big win for Zombie's team. Good week to be facing a team full of buys. Does hurt Pussy, falls him to 4-5 after getting a couple wins in a row to get back to 4-4. At one time, we were thinking Pussy might be in the last place battle, and even at 4-5, he's still not. He's out of that at the moment. But a rough week, as we all predicted for Pussy's team. Some people were maybe calling for a record-setting 41 points or less. I was not one of them, as I looked at Pussy's team and still knew it would score more than 41 points. But it didn't score much more, only 30 points more. Minshew was rough. Jalen Warren was really the only bright spot. Godwin had a bad game. Goddard got hurt, so that's a big blow to Pussy's team moving forward. So rough performances all around. On Zombie side, it wasn't much better. His Eagle stack really just carried him. 25 from Hurts, 19 from Brown. Swift had 10, but other than that, the end of Zombies lineup was rough. Pitts with a rough game. Quentin Johnson, who he had to start because Palmer was out, and he did not do nothing. And Zombies Houston defense, who he picked up, only got 1 point. So rough performance besides the Eagle stack for Zombies team. Could that be a sign moving forward for Zombies team? Is it just Eagle stack or bust for Zombies team? Zombie, your
Bust.
comments after the big win against Pussy to now take over solo first place. Are you going to be keeping that spot moving forward?
Yeah, Pusa
No.
was light work. Thanks
Okay.
for Fake Ref for choking, and I'm never giving it up.
Oh, okay.
Zombie
Interesting.
has the least amount of points against in the league by
Oh,
a
okay.
wide margin.
Any
Um,
any comment to that, Zombie?
Jeez, how about you score some fucking points to get into the playoffs,
I
you
scored 140 this week. I can't do much more. Buddy, you're the least points against. A bunch of Mickey Mouse wins.
Oh,
Rat's gonna
okay.
take over, or Bill's gonna take over. Someone's taking.
Well, last
don't-
week you
you
said
know.
it was Bill. Now you're changing
Bill won.
to Bill
Bill
or.
won.
Okay, interesting.
Bill,
All right.
Bill's
Anybody
one
else
super
have
high
any?
now. Rat is
Anybody
close.
else have any comments on Zombie now in first
I-
place?
Wish I played Pusa this week. Out of
So
all
did
the
I,
weeks to
so
not
did
play
I.
Pusa.
Okay, well, let's. You know
This-
what? Let's go right down to your matchup because you're complaining that you wish you played Pussy, but you played somebody that also had
you
their
played
whole
Ernie.
team on bye,
Uh,
and you only scored 78 points
Oh.
against the bye team. Pussy would have been the only person you
Fucking
beat, and you
Pussy.
wouldn't have even deserved to beat Pussy scoring 78
Wah.
points. A huge upset that nobody predicted for Ernie's bye week team, taking care of Rat 78 to 91, sends Rat to 6-3 after he proclaimed last week that it was up from here, gonna win out, gonna get the first overall pick or first overall seed after he took care of Ernie's bye team. He literally talked so much shit on Ernie's team last week. Never said he was gonna freaking lose, and everybody agreed basically. I mean, I said Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey would outscore all of Ernie's team, and they did not. As Mahomes just had a mediocre game. Tyreek Hill got shut down after talking. Tyreek Hill is literally perfect for Rat because they were both the same thing. They both talked a ton of shit before the week, and then both didn't show up
That's my
when
wide
it came to
receiver.
Sunday. Kelsey with only 4.4, only 3 catches on only 4 targets, and 14 yards from Kelsey. When do you ever see that scoreline? That for Mr. Pfizer. Yikes. And on Ernie's side, he picked up the right quarterback with Baker Mayfield, got 19 strong points. Both his running backs almost got 10. I guess that's decent for his bye issues. Addison didn't do a whole lot. It basically came down to special teams. Tucker carried Ernie with 15. JSN, another nice game with 12. Ever since Ernie picked him up, he's been doing good every week. And Philly's defense did okay. So GG's to Ernie, overcoming the bye week issue to put up a solid amount of points for this week. 91 isn't crazy, but, it was enough. So GG's to Ernie. Rat, go ahead. The floor is yours. You talked all kinds of shit last week. I'm sure you're going to try to backtrack on some of that now. But you choked first place. You said you would be in first place after this week, and you're not.
GG's to Ernie. This is not happening again.
Mm.
I will.
What? Did we just lose him? Did we lose everybody? Hello? Okay. Test. Hello?
Me? Did the show
Hello?
hear me?
Did the show hear
No.
Rat?
All I heard you say
I-
was GG to Ernie, and then it just stopped.
But did the
I
show hear
said
it?
GG's to
No,
Ernie.
because I didn't hear it. What?
Oh, true.
78 is never happening again.
Oh,
Zombie
okay.
ain't getting first place. I will be back.
Okay.
Then she shit on me by saying my team's shit, but
Oh. Okay. What is going on with this party? Is it just me connecting? Hello?
Buffer, what is up with your
Hello?
Florida
I
internet, buddy?
don't know. Is it only me that keeps losing? It
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah, well,
It doesn't even say
everyone else
connecting.
is in the party.
It doesn't even say connecting. It just goes out.
Did they even hear me now? What happened? Like, what to do here?
Okay, I heard almost all of it. You said
Okay,
Cheese called your
so-
team shit. You're never scoring 78
Yeah.
points again.
Yeah.
GG's to Ernie. What else? Jesus. Okay, we're gonna have to go to Discord because I don't know what's happening.
All right.
What?
Join the Discord because my party keeps dropping.
Okay.
I'm here.
We're here.
Okay. It sounds so much louder in Discord.
Fook's here. Zombie's here. Okay, everyone's here. Oh, Ernie's here? What the fuck?
Why does it not show everyone's name on Discord? Why does it just have their first? What is going on? Shit, scuffed. Okay, is Rat here?
Yes.
Okay, finish real quick.
This ain't happening again, so GG's to Ernie, but this is a fluke.
Okay. All right. Well, as Ernie has picked up some big wins over some people this year that he probably loves to have as bragging rights. So big win for Ernie to put him to 5-4, keeps him above that muck and in a strong spot to make the playoffs now. So we'll see moving forward, especially after his bye week, to pick up a win. All right. Moving back to this matchup versus Tyler and Slaps, a big matchup here as Tyler picks up a huge win, 117-83. So he lost last week to Zach to come into a tie for last place, and then his team immediately responds with a win over Slaps to get him out of that bottom spot. So good performance from Tyler's team. Eckler had a strong game again. Jacobs, who he acquired, he proclaimed in the party the other night that he has the best running back duo in fantasy out of all of our teams. I don't know if I agree with that, but he has a very strong one with Eckler and Jacobs if they continue to do what they're doing. Devontae Smith had an okay game, picking him up from a trade. Mark Andrews, who he got a while back, had a big game. So some strong performances from Tyler's team. On Slaps' side, it was rough. He made that trade away for Hurts for Herbert, and Herbert without his receivers looking a little rough. Only 7 points. He only really has Keenan Allen to throw to right now, and Eckler, I guess, but he's not really hitting Eckler that much. Derrick Henry, though, had another nice game, so he's looking like a guy that maybe just keeps putting out 19 points a game. Mixon had another strong, decent game. It was Gabe Davis, though, dropping a 0-pointer. That really hurt Slaps. Only 2 targets as well. So the inconsistent Gabe Davis continues to go back and forth. And then other than that, some mediocre KJ Osborne, who he had to start, had a horrible game, got hurt. Trey McBride didn't do anything. So some rough performances from Slaps' team, which is why you see only 83 points. Meanwhile, Tyler's team more steady and deserved the victory in easy fashion. So now Slaps and Tyler both 3-6, both only 1 game ahead of last place. So Slaps now, not only does he have to worry about trying to make the playoffs, which is going to take a big run from Slaps' team, but he also has to worry about that last place. Anyone have any comments about this matchup?
I do.
Okay.
I just want to say I offered DJ Stroud and Dalton Schultz for Justin Herbert and Trey McBride, and he said no.
Wow.
He should have taken it.
That's
and I gave him Spears too.
Wow, that's an interesting. So
Look, I like
wow.
the move Slaps made, but
well, I guarantee you, if you offered him now, that he would take it in a heartbeat because he
Probably.
loves going week to week on what players do. And after he just saw Stroud's huge game and Schultz's huge game, I guarantee he takes that in a heartbeat with Herbert putting up 7.
I might need to send him an offer.
Okay. Cheese, what were you gonna say?
I liked Slaps' move when he made it, but the buys were just too much to overcome.
Yeah, he did have some
I don't
buys.
know. I don't know why you try to trade Ford to everybody and touting him as a good running back, and then you put KJ Osborne in the flex. I don't know.
Ford had 12. I mean, it wouldn't have really helped, but he did choose not to start Ford and started Osborne.
I wouldn't have started KJ Osborne. Like, that's kind of delusional. But it goes.
He also
back
had
here.
Ferguson on his bench, who had 22. So he played Ferguson the week before, and he had a nice game. And then he decided to go with McBride against Cleveland with no quarterback. Arizona had no quarterback.
It's because McBride put up 22 last week, so he's like, oh, he's going to do it again.
Yeah,
and
but
then watch him.
But that was with Dobbs at quarterback, wasn't it?
And Cleveland's defense is very good.
Wasn't that with Dobbs at quarterback?
Yeah. Well, watch him put in Ferguson this week, and McBride outscores Ferguson.
I mean,
and
he had some quarterback. First of all, you're facing Cleveland's defense, who's tough, and they had no quarterback. Dobbs is no longer there.
He also traded Kittle instead of Ferguson so he could stop making choices, and now he's playing Ferguson.
That's a good point.
That is true.
That is a good point. Yeah. So Slaps is a little bit of a mess with his roster decisions, as always. That's always the case.
I told you, I like the trade, and then he shot himself in the foot with the starters.
Okay. All right, Rat, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Both these teams suck ass. So.
Whoa, okay.
Right, you put up 70 points. You cannot fucking talk.
Suck ass.
I don't
really?
care.
I mean, Tyler had a decent week. I mean, he's got some decent players. I don't know if I'd say Tyler's team sucks ass.
No, Tyler.
Sorry, Slaps team sucks ass, and Tyler's can head in the right direction. There you go. But
Yeah.
Slash seems best.
Tyler had a decent week, and Lamar gets 20. His score looks a lot better. So
Okay.
turning
Turn
red
up
up.
Brad a little bit. Yeah, he's too quiet for me.
Well,
Okay. All right. Moving on to another. This was the higher scoring matchup of the week. Bill picks up a big victory, 137 to 130. More unfortunate for Zach as he has a huge week, scores 130 points, but comes away with a loss to now fall to 2-7, back into solo last place. Bill picks up a big victory. It moves to 5-4, so stays well above that muck of last playoff spot race. Looked for a while like Zach had this one in the bag, and then Zach's Jamar Chase on Sunday night really kind of let him down with a mediocre 8 points, which opened the door for Bill on Monday Night Football to come through. And he did with Keenan Allen getting 15, so that was enough. So GG's to Bill on the win. Zach, Tua with kind of a rough game, but that was kind of all the Miami guys against the Chiefs. Rashad White, though, had a big game. He is looking like a second half top running back, RB1 type guys. He's getting a bunch out of the passing game as well as running it pretty well. The big story was can't guard Mike, who Zach lives and dies on the sword on. Well, he died this week because he didn't even get him his average 10 that he gets every week. He got him a goose egg and only got one target, so that got to be concerning. Amari Cooper, though, had a really nice game, so that's good for Zach to see with Watson back. Hunter Henry, who had to play at tight end, also did well. So Zach had some players that performed, but his big guns like Chase, when he needed him to come through, did not come through for him, and Bill's guy did, Keenan Allen. So that was kind of the difference in this matchup. Unlucky for Zach, as he would have beaten many teams this week, but he got some unluckiness playing Bill, who just scored more. So we'll see if Zach's team can keep it going forward. If he keeps scoring 130 every week, he'll probably avoid last place. But we'll see if his team doesn't revert back to shit the following week. Anyone have any comments on this?
Bill's keeping, I said Bill keep going.
Yeah.
Getting wins. He's,
Yeah, Bill's team doesn't have many holes. I mean, he's a pretty solid team.
Solid team.
Yeah. Okay.
Lucky for Zach, yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
Can't guard Mike got guarded.
Oh,
True.
that is true. He didn't just get guarded. He got locked up. So that's got to be concerning for Zach. But we know Zach's not going to take him out of the lineup. So he'll be playing every week, live or die, by hoping he gets him his 10 points. I mean, the guy is either 10 points and I guess or 0 now, because this is kind of a crazy week. I wouldn't have expected him to get 0 when he's been getting 10 every week, but he got locked up.
They were double teaming him all game.
Yeah, well, Chris Olave benefited from that, so I'm sure, Pook, you hope that keeps happening.
Let's talk about the game of the week.
All right, yes, the game of the week, the highest scoring matchup of the week. Pook picks up a massive victory as Cheese proclaimed before the week, last week on the show, that he was going to end Pook's season and send him to 3-6. Well, he just ignited Pook's season with a big win, 147 to 140, high scoring. Unlucky for Cheese to pick up a loss to fall to 4-5 after he got a win the previous week. So unlucky there, but Pook's team popped off. C.J. Stroud, another great free agent pickup. 41 huge points. Cheese was watching in the party that second half of that Houston game when he was looking like he was going to win, and CJ just kept popping off with touchdown after touchdown, including in that final 20-some seconds. Although Bijan Robinson continues
playing like Brian Robinson.
Yeah, continues his single digits, single touches, horrible games. He also lost a fumble, continues to just not look like the number 2 overall pick, but we've been saying that every week now. Saquon Barkley had an okay game. Chris Olave, as I already mentioned, had a nice game with Mike Thomas getting locked up. He got into the end zone. Mike Evans was okay. Dalton Schultz, so that Stroud to Schultz connection was really the difference in this matchup for Pook. 27 huge points for Dalton Schultz. Big, huge game for him. 130 yards and 10 catches. Tyler Lockett didn't do anything, but that whole Seattle offense just looked like complete shit. Matt Gay did okay, and the Saints defense also got some nice points with 12 there. On Cheese's side, Derek Carr, who he had to start, did okay, I guess, for what you were expecting from him. I think you
For
would
a
take that.
fill-in, we're
Yeah,
happy.
yeah.
We're happy with that.
Stevenson had a nice game. You hope that continues, as he had one big play also through the on that run. Aaron Jones had a nice comeback game, so you're hoping your running backs can continue with that production. Although they've been very volatile this season, but if they can keep this up towards the end of the season, you'll be in good shape. Nakua, though, has to be a little bit concerning with the quarterback issues that the Rams have. That's affecting Nakua big time, so that's got to be rough. But at least the Deontay Johnson trade with Pussy looks like it has worked out big time, as he had a huge game and got a touchdown. 22 big points. Logan Thomas kind of meh. CeeDee Lamb, once again, another huge game, another huge, massive game, and Cheese is just fortunate that he was talked some sense into, and Zombie did not take his trade for CeeDee Lamb, or he would not have had his points these last couple weeks. And who knows where Cheese would be at. Young Koo as well. Big game from the kicker, 19 points. And the Giants defense, 0 points. Honestly, the difference in the matchup, Cheese goes with his Homer team, Giants.
Okay, it's the Raiders. Come on.
After what?
There's
Two decent games where they played the Jets and the Bills, and their defense looked okay. You go with the Homer defense, and they get you 0 points and cost you this win, basically. I mean, most defenses would have got you 8. I mean, you just needed 8 points from the defense.
Well, I mean, the only defenses who were free agents were the Falcons, who I was never starting.
How many points did they get? Did they get 8?
They're on waivers, actually. I'm sorry. They're on waivers. Did
they get 8?
They got 10.
Okay, so that would have won you it.
And
Chargers.
Chargers and some other. The rest, no one else got.
No one else got 8, so you had those 2. But you went with your Homer Giants, and you honestly you deserve to lose for going with your Homer Giants when they have looked like complete dog shit all year.
It's the Raiders, though.
Yeah, and they just fired their coach, and they're going with a new quarterback. If it was Jimmy G, then I would get it. But it's a whole new quarterback and a brand new coach.
All right.
Anyways, dog shit Giants are. All right, Pook, big victory for you to keep your season alive, right in the mix for the playoffs at 4-5. What do you have to say? Shout out to CJ Stroud.
As soon as Stevenson got that touchdown, I took a nap. So I did not watch any of that fucking game until the final drive.
Wow, so you didn't even see CJ Stroud's great performance. Wow.
I saw the final drive from Stroud. That was it.
So are you going to be happy that an Ohio State quarterback finally looks good in the NFL and brought you to this victory?
Yes, he is the best Ohio State quarterback in NFL history.
Yes. All right. I love hearing that. All right. And are you going to say he's better than Patrick Mahomes?
He is better than Patrick Mahomes when Taylor Swift isn't in attendance.
Thank you. Okay, I'll take that. I will take that. He definitely did better than Patrick Mahomes this past week. Am I right, Rat?
We don't talk about it.
Okay. All right. Pook, what else would you like to say after beating Cheese when Cheese said last week on the show that he was going to end your season?
It's a lucky win. Nothing more.
Oh.
Cheese, shut the fuck up.
CJ Stroud isn't scoring 40 points every week. Calm your tits.
Buddy.
Maybe he is. How do you know?
And Dalton Schultz ain't scoring 30 every week.
How do you know?
Listen,
yes,
we were in that watch party and we heard Cheese say GG Pook, and then all of a sudden
they just kept getting points and points.
Yeah, it just rained points for Pook. Look, we got 160 last week, 140 this week. Step in the right direction.
I will say Cheese does have the highest single week points for, so he's currently pocketing $40.
Oh.
Hey!
Oh.
Take that. So I have the highest points for and the lowest points for?
Oh, wait, it might be Rat, actually.
Wait.
No!
It's either Cheese or Rat.
What week did Rat?
Wait, are you saying 160?
Everybody. Yeah,
it was 163.
Wait, let me check.
Cheese or Rat?
Oh, it's me.
I'm pretty sure Rat had more.
What did I score?
Yeah, it's Rat then. You scored 162 2 weeks.
No.
Didn't Rat score 170 something?
No, he scored 163, I'm pretty sure.
I scored 165. I scored 165.
It might be 170 then.
What did Rat? Let me check Rat's team.
You can look. Okay, so Cheese, you're now 4-5. You're right on that cusp. I think you have the final playoff spot on points for, but there's a bunch of people right on your neck. So what do you have to say?
Look, my points for, we're back up there with everyone else with these 2 big weeks. Okay.
Okay.
We got that 40-point week behind us. I like the trend for my team.
Okay.
Some really good weeks. Aaron Jones is back apparently. Stevenson is back. Puka will be back once,
I would hold the phone on saying they're back when they just had one good week.
Well,
Can we see
they're having.
Stevenson
Well,
do it
Aaron
again?
Jones is back. He's getting touches again.
Okay.
So
Yes.
he wasn't getting.
Although
Stevenson got carried by that long.
Although
Stevenson did
he's
get
getting
carried.
he's getting touches, but could that be possibly concerning? Because if he's getting all these touches, does that mean he's going to get hurt?
How did AJ do?
He seems like he's a little bit of a glass body.
I would hope that he doesn't get hurt, but I'd rather him get the touches.
I think your bigger thing you should talk about is Deontay Johnson. You said Pussy has reinvigorated your season with the trade rate.
Deontay Johnson gets 1 billion targets. Okay, he's making George Pickens kill himself.
Pussy a little
bitch. Whoa.
So I'm very happy with how that's a solid wide receiver too for me. Very happy with that.
So you said, but wait, you said earlier the other day that you have to thank Pussy for giving your season a whole new light. So talk about how you raped Pussy.
Well, Ayuk has been fine, but Deontay farms so many targets.
Okay.
And Ramondre is a very usable running back too. And Pusa decides to trade them, and now his whole team was on bye last week.
Pusa tried to fuck on me.
I don't get what that was about. He can't afford to be losing matches.
He intentionally traded Deontay to fuck me this week.
I mean, you had a Deontay original.
I got fucked by Matt because I traded him Fields and Pacheco, and they fucked me. Yeah. So I traded Gibbs to Cheese because I knew he'd be on a bye when we played. So
I can also confirm that I have the highest scoring week this week with 165 points.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll see if that holds.
For now.
Let's see if that holds the rest of the season. You could miss the playoffs, so you might need that extra money.
Well, right now,
do you know who does need that extra money?
We know one person.
Are we going to look at the playoff picture before the matchups?
Yes, we're going to.
I'm going to go, but I will say I'm not going to win this week.
Who are you playing?
Tyler.
Wow, Tyler's going to get the
win? I think Bill.
I mean, there's a big difference between Tyler and Bill.
Oh, I will say I'm still following the pattern of alternating wins and losses.
I couldn't hear you. Okay, so you're going to win this week.
I'm going to win this week.
Okay, you're in the air or something, so mute yourself or leave. All right. So looking at the standings after that interesting last week of games, it was a very interesting week. There was some wins that I did not expect, some losses I did not expect. So looking at it, how it all shapes out, we have some little bit more separation in the standings compared to last week. We have a new number 1, Zombie, in solo first place at 7-2. Then Rat and Matt both at 6-3, one game back. Then 3 teams at 5-4. Myself in 4th, Bill in 5th, and Ernie in 6th, all at 5-4. Then we have a couple at 4-5. So at the moment, like Cheese said, he would get the last playoff spot on points 4 at 4-5. He has about a 50-point margin over Pook and an even bigger margin against Pussy. So he's looking decent on the points 4. On the points 4 standpoint, he's looking decent there as long as he keeps his advantage over Pook. That was I guess the one shot or the one silver lining to losing to Pook this week. At least you scored a shit ton where he only gained 7 points on you in the points 4 department.
Yeah.
Then we have Tyler and Slaps in 3-6. It's go time for these two teams. If they want to make a playoff run, they need to start winning quite a bit of games. They really, I mean, if you're going off the basis of 7-7, getting in the playoffs as the final spots, they really need to start winning. They can only lose like one more time rest of the season. And then, as we said, Zach back in solo last place at 2-7. Decent points for, though. It's interesting. Zach has way more points for than Slaps, Tyler, and Pussy, and Pook as well. But he sits in the bottom, in the cellar, all on his own at the moment. So we'll see if Zach can start getting some wins to at least get himself out of that last place spot. All right, looking real quick at waivers for this week. We had Pook picking up the hot commodity on waivers, Keaton Mitchell, after his big game. It was a running back committee game for the Ravens as Gus Bus had a couple touchdowns, but Keaton Mitchell also had a nice game with a touchdown and was 9 carries for 138 yards, had a big run as well, so might be a decent option moving forward out of the backfield. We'll see. He bid $19 and won them. Decent bid there, although he did overpay slightly as Tyler only bid $1 on him in second. Tyler picks up Tampa Bay defense for $8. Nobody else made bids. Cheese picks up the Raiders defense. So you went from the Giants last week to now the Raiders.
It's the Raiders
this week for $6.
You're playing the fucking Jets, okay?
Okay. Ernie gets his boy Joshua Dobbs back for Baker Mayfield. Obviously, he's hoping for that Dobbs to JJ connection in the future, so that's why Ernie got him. Tyler picks up Ty Chandler as the running back for Minnesota now, probably going to be the second running back behind Madison, so a little bit of a cuff situation there, or maybe he takes over Madison because he has not been doing that well. I picked up a kicker as my GOAT kicker for the Eagles is on bye. Bill picks up Jahan Dotson after his big performance. So Tyler talked about how he was wanting Jahan Dotson last week to play last week, but the waivers did not clear in time for the game because Pussy dropped him the 2 days before, and so Bill swoops in and gets him this week now for $0. He had a nice game last week, so decent pickup there. I was surprised nobody else put a bid in on him after his big week last week. Rat picks up Taylor Heineke for $0. Do you need you have to start a quarterback this week, right?
Yep.
With the Chiefs on bye, so you're going with Taylor Heineke, huh? All right.
It might change.
Oh, okay. Zombie picks up Bryce Young. Zombie? Bryce Young? 3 picks last week? Okay. Interesting choice there. Pussy gets Russell Wilson for Gardner Minshew, although Pussy did make a trade today, which we will talk about, so we'll see if he ends up starting Russ. Tyler gets the Commanders defense. Rat picks up Jaden Reed, who he traded for at one time, then dropped. He picks him back up now. Okay, these are all kind of just shit pickups that no one cares about. Colts defense for Zombie. Jonnu Smith, who seems to be better tight end, or at least more used in Atlanta than Kyle Pitts, because Arthur Smith, we all know he loves to use no names that people don't like and use their star guys as eye candy. So he picks up him, drops Packers defense. All right. Anybody want to comment on any of those waivers?
They're all garbage.
Ooh, Bill is here. Hello, Bill. Yes. Zombie, just out of care, are you starting Bryce Young this week?
Yeah.
Don't they play on Thursday Night Football against who? The Bears?
Yes, they do.
The Bears? I guess the Bears aren't. The Bears are a decent matchup, but after what we
Feisty
saw
matchup.
last week from Bryce Young with 3 interceptions against the Colts, who aren't even that good of a defense, I don't know. All right, looking at the one trade that was made so far this week. One today between me and Pussy. Pretty decent trade here. I think this was good negotiating between me and Pussy as it fills both of our needs. I no longer need Purdy as I have Burrow for the rest of the season, and Pussy is in dire need of a quarterback. So he gets Purdy and Jacoby Myers, and I get the slight upgrade at wide receiver with Godwin. Even though Godwin had a bad week last week, he definitely will see targets rest of the season, so I like Godwin a little bit more than Myers. And I also get Zach Charbonnet, the running back for the Seattle, to have as a cuff in case anything happens to my boy Walker, as well as Charbonnet has been getting a little bit more snap share over the last few weeks. So just in case he somehow takes over, I have him as a backup. So decent trade to fill both of our needs. Does anybody want to comment on this?
Pussy's still going to lose, so.
Pussy's still going to lose even when he gets Purdy. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right, then we will move on to this week's matchups, and we will start with my matchup versus Slaps. At the moment, Sleeper projecting Slaps to win this one, although I do not have a kicker currently in. I'm waiting for them to rule out my boy Dameon Pierce so then I don't have to drop anyone. So I will be putting Riley Patterson in, so that's 9 more points. So 109 to 116, Slaps still projected to win though. Slaps desperately needs this win. This is a big week for his season. At 3-6, he needs to win, and his lineup's looking pretty decent to give a run at it. He's got Herbert against Detroit. That game has a potential to be a decent game. We'll see if it plays out decent for fantasy. Derrick Henry against Tampa Bay. Mixon, who has been coming on the last few weeks against Houston, could be decent. St. Brown against the Chargers as well in that game, so he's hoping for a shootout type game in the Chargers-Lions, which has potential to be one. His Chargers defense isn't that great. Garrett Wilson on Sunday night against the Raiders, who he's been doing okay. Ferguson is back in there now against Cheese's Giants. That could be very good. I guess the only thing we have to worry about with Dallas is do they get up so big that they bench second half. Kirk against San Fran, and Hopkins against Baltimore, and the Pittsburgh defense against Green Bay is also very decent. So some decent matchups. On my side, I have Burrow against Houston. Houston's defense not the greatest, so I expect Burrow to have another nice game. Pollard against the Giants. Can we please, God, get Tony Pollard in the end zone for once, please? He thought we had it last week, and then they had a fucking false start on the play. Can we please just run the ball? You're facing the Giants. You don't need to do a whole lot to beat the New York Giants. Just fucking run the ball with Dallas. Kenneth Walker against Washington. I like that matchup. Hopefully, after a couple bad weeks for Walker, he can get back on track and have a big game against that horrible Commanders defense. Calvin Ridley coming off bye against the 49ers. Obviously, 49ers decent team, but I expect Ridley to have another nice game like he had before his bye week. Metcalf against Washington as well. Looking for a big bounce back game from him. Against the Commanders defense is the perfect type of matchup to do it. Hawkinson against the Saints. Hopefully Joshua Dobbs keeps throwing the ball to Hawkinson like he did. Hawkinson barely had any points with the other guy in there, and then when Dobbs came in, he started hitting him up a lot. So hopefully that continues. And at the moment, we have Pickens against Green Bay. That will be switched most likely to Godwin against Tennessee. I have to see a good performance from Pickens before I can play Pickens again after what he did last week. So Godwin will be in there instead against Tennessee. And then, like I said, Patterson and Cleveland's defense against Baltimore. Obviously, Baltimore's offense is decent, although Cleveland's defense is good, and this is a divisional showdown that I think will be a lower scoring affair as they normally are, so I'm going to roll with that defense. All right, obviously I'm going to pick myself. I do think it's going to be extremely close. I do like a lot of Slaps matchups, and Slaps just had a shit week last week, so he is due for some of his players to have big games. He also has some players back from bye. On my side, though, I do believe I have players that are due for big games as well. Seattle has been in a funk offensively, so this is a get-right game for them, hopefully against the Commanders. So I like a couple of my matchups to be sneaky out of nowhere, have some big games, and pull off this close upset victory this week. Hopefully I can get it to move to 6-4. That would be massive for my team, but equally Slaps needs it, so good luck to him. I hope I can pull out a close win. All right, Rat, who's winning?
I'm gonna say you. I think.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you have some good matchups. When I said about Dobbs with Hawkinson, I did say Dobbs was a service quarterback for the Vikings, and everybody was shitting on him, but I think Hawkinson has a good game. Walker, Pollard, yeah, I think you have good matchups.
Okay. I mean, I don't think Dobbs. I wasn't shitting on Dobbs necessarily as being just god awful, but he's definitely a step down from Kirk Cousins. That's what I said. But he can still get the Minnesota fantasy players some points, which I will need from Hawkinson moving forward. Okay. Cheese, who's winning?
Yeah, it's gonna be a close one.
Yep.
Just because Tony Pollard's been so mid, even against the good matchups. I don't know how the judges.
Okay.
I think he would score. I mean, Slaps is full strength here with the trades, and I think the Detroit game is going to be a shootout for sure, which helps because he has St. Brown and Herb.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to stick with Golfer just because I like Burrow. I feel like Ridley's going to have a good game. Hawk. Okay. But I could easily see going to Slaps.
Okay, that's fair analogy. The thing with Pollard, it's going to go one of two ways. I remember a few weeks ago when they had a good matchup. I forget what team they were playing, but they had a really good matchup, and they blew the team out. Oh, it was the Rams. They scored with all the wide receivers. Like CD had 2, the other wide receiver had 1, Cooks had 1. So they scored all those in the first half, blew the Rams out, and then the second half, they benched all their players, and so Pollard ended up with like 6 points because he didn't get any of the scores, and they didn't have to do anything because they were up so big. So that has a potential to happen again this week, so I'm going to need Pollard to get his points early and often in the game before they decide to bench starters, because I don't think there's any chance the Giants keep this game close into the second half. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully the Giants will bring something for the Cowboys so they stay competitive. All right, Bill, who's winning this one?
I hate to say it, but I think you're going to get Kirked.
Ooh, that is true. Christian Kirk. That's a big thing in our matchup. I have Ridley, he has Kirk. So
I also think Mixon's going to have a good game against that Houston run D.
Yep, I would agree.
So Yeah, I think you're gonna get kirked.
Okay, those are fair things. I mean, if it's a Bengals running type day because they're doing good, then Burrow gets less points. So I'm gonna need Burrow to throw the touchdown passes and Mixon not to run them in. All right, Zombie, who's winning?
Slaps.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next matchup. We have Cheese looking for a bounce back victory, as he's already mentioned. He loses one, then wins one, then loses one. So this week he's due for a win against Matt's team, who comes off that low-scoring affair loss. At the moment, he has not switched his lineup yet, so he has Pacheco on bye, Bucker on bye, Rams defense on bye. So looking here, Higgins most likely not going to play.
He has no other
So
running backs.
He doesn't have a running back.
Cam Akers tore his
Cam
Achilles or
Akers is
whatever.
out. McKinnon's
Ooh,
on
I have
bye.
running back.
All right, so he's going to have to do something. He didn't do no waivers, so I wish I could say I'm surprised by his inactivity, but I'm not. So because we all know
he could
he's
pick up.
probably busy fucking a stripper right now.
His top options are Jamal Williams.
Okay.
Keyshawn
Maybe
Vaughn,
I'll trade him Gus Bus.
Pirine,
maybe
or
I'll
a
send him
trade.
an offer for Gus
Or a
Bus.
trade.
All right, so at the moment, he does have Kyler Murray if he comes back. Who knows if he plays him or if he just sticks with Geno. I don't know. Najee Harris against Green Bay. Diggs against Denver. Devontae Adams against the Jets. Could be decent, maybe. Although Devontae Adams has not been getting many points the last few weeks. But Diggs against Denver on Monday night. That should be a good game for Diggs. Thielen on Thursday night tomorrow against Chicago. That's a decent matchup. We expect Thielen maybe to have a little bit of a bounce-back game. Could be a higher scoring game tomorrow night, but it is Thursday night, and every time we think it's going to be high scoring, it turns into a shit show on Thursday night. And Njoku against Baltimore had a nice, decent game last week, and we'll see what he gets as kickers and defenses. On Cheese's side, Goff against the Chargers, Jones against Pittsburgh, Stevenson against the Colts, CeeDee Lamb against the Giants could be good. Deontay Johnson against Green Bay also could be good. Ingram back off bye against the 49ers. Gibbs against the Chargers. Montgomery most likely is going to be back, so we'll see how that affects Gibbs. Young-Ho Koo against Arizona, and the Raiders defense against those Jets on Sunday night. Interesting. Do you just not have a defense? Oh, you have the Lions.
I'm not playing the Lions against the Chargers.
I was trying to figure out why you keep picking up streaming these defenses. I thought you had a good defense. Then I remembered you traded the 49ers defense for
They didn't do that great.
Detroit. Okay.
The Lions play a stretch of Chicago, Green Bay, New Orleans, Chicago, Denver, Minnesota. So we're back after this week.
Okay. All right. Obviously, I'm going to pick Cheese in this one. I'm really questioning if Matt has any. To me, Matt and Zach seem like they're in the same boat, except one of them is like almost top of the league, and the other one is dead last. It just seems like there's barely any waiver claims Matt ever puts in to try to help improve his team. Seems like he just waits till the back end of the week and then tries to just pick up whatever he needs to do. But this week he has some serious issues with buys. Like we said, he doesn't currently have a second running back on the roster, so he's going to have to do something. We'll see if Matt just does it Friday or whatever, or what happens with Matt. Well, but right now he's kind of inactive when it comes to getting some type of roster set up. So we'll see what moves he makes. Hard to tell, but I don't really think it matters. I think Cheese will pick up the win. I like some of Cheese's matchups this week, so I think Cheese has the edge, especially with Matt's issues with his lineup. Rat, who's winning?
I think Cheese wins this, but
Okay.
I will say Cheese all year has talked shit about Matt Smith's team. And that could come back to bite him.
Ooh,
he has no running back too, Rat. He has no running back.
Yet, but he could get a running back too.
But then he would lose someone else on his team. So. And he also, if you look at the available defenses, they're all shit. So that's not going to help either.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we'll see what he does. He usually waits till later in the week to make moves, so we'll see what he does. Although, you would think after last week talking shit on Pook, and then Pook's team popping off, you'd think maybe you'd just be a little more reserved this week.
Nope.
We're
following the pattern, okay? I thought I could break the pattern last week. I'm not allowed to break the pattern, apparently. So.
Okay. All right. Bill, who's winning?
If Matt makes a trade, he should win.
If Matt makes your trade?
No, probably just any trade. Aaron Jones, gross. Ramondre, gross.
Oh,
wow, they had
on my Cheese's team.
They had a lot of
Okay.
points last week.
Golf is meh. Chargers could come back. Yeah, I don't know. Bosa could have a good game. Yeah, I don't know. I like Matt's team better overall, but he needs to make a
Okay.
trade. Otherwise, he can't win.
Okay. All right. Interesting there. Zombie.
He left.
He left. Jesus.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So Cheese, I'm assuming you're gonna say follow the trend and win, right?
Taking myself.
Okay.
It's a good week actually to see where Gibbs is at.
Mhm.
I don't really need too many. Hopefully, I won't need that many points.
Ooh. Oh my God. You just
I said
said
hopefully.
something else.
No,
Oh
I said
my.
hopefully. I said
You
hopefully.
didn't start out saying hopefully. You had to correct yourself.
Look. After the 2
Everybody
past
heard
weeks
it.
for Gibbs, I'm hoping that Dan Campbell will at least get him like.
Everybody heard it here. He said
So
that he doesn't
let's-
need Gibbs this week, so it's a
No,
good
I
week
do.
to.
I
It's
do
a
need
good week
Gibbs.
to see. Okay.
Okay. I'm just hoping that I don't think he'll get 30 again, but I'm hoping he'll at least
You gotta
split.
see how many touches he
Monty.
gets. Does he get
Yeah,
catches?
but
Does he
The
get
good
used?
the
He's
good
not going to
news
be
is
used on the
hopefully-
goal line, I can tell you that. They're using Montgomery on the
The
goal
good news is after this week, I'll have Puka back and then eventually Kyron back, so I'll have options.
You're high on Puka
Yeah.
still. You do realize they have no
Yeah.
quarterback. At the
I'm
moment.
hoping. Well, they have a bye, so Molding Stafford will get healthy.
okay.
And then if Puka is still hurt, then Kyron will be the guy. So
Okay.
options.
Alright.
I'm hopefully taking this win against Matt. Obviously, it's going to be a lot closer once he fills in the defense and kicker.
Okay. I
But
gotcha. Okay, let me ask you this question because we're not doing a panic meter segment this week. So let me ask you just one question, and we'll go around the room here. Does anybody have any concern, or does anybody believe Matt could possibly choke this first place all the way and miss the playoffs completely?
No.
Cheese?
Who's he playing next week?
I don't know. You can look it up.
He's playing.
Just
he's playing Rat
looking
next
at
week.
his team and his roster, does anybody think that he just loses out and misses the playoffs?
So we have what 4 weeks left after this?
Yes.
He just needs one win to kind of lock that up. So I would say that
well, his points for is what?
I will say something.
His points for is not terrible.
1,000. Okay, yeah, it's better than the people at 4 and 5, pretty much.
I would think he would just need one. I would think it'd be very hard to choke it. He would just need one
Well, that's
win.
why I said a choke, because it would be a choke.
Yeah,
'cause
I
he
would
should
think.
make it.
I would think he would at least make.
I don't know. When I look at Matt's team, I don't see it going in the right direction. And usually, when teams are going in the bad direction,
I agree with you.
It
But I think the wins are big.
if it goes in the bad direction, I mean, it's real easy to stack losses if it's going bad. And I guess if Kyler Murray plays really good, then obviously that really helps his team. But I don't know.
I mean, the real
I just
question
got a
is-
bad vibe from Matt's team. Maybe it's the whole other issue of.
I mean, if Devontae Adams can get back to form.
Yeah, that's another thing. Devontae Adams has not been the wide receiver top guy that.
If he
running.
can get back, I don't know. I feel like there's a chance.
I thought
that-
Devontae Adams was going to pop off this past week against me with the new coach in there. I thought the new coach would go in and say, feed that man nonstop, and they just did it.
I
They
mean,
kept
he had
spreading
7
it around.
targets. He only caught 4.
Yeah,
I looked
but
at the schedule,
it's not that
and
crazy.
it comes down
You didn't get
to
touched.
week 12. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Week
I
12.
looked at the schedule for Matt, and it comes
Okay.
down to week 12 versus Pusa, because Diggs and Adams are in a bye week 13. He plays me next week, and he
Oh.
plays Bill last week.
Oh,
So this,
okay.
th-
So if he
these are-
doesn't win this week, chances are his best chance to win would be Pussy.
Well,
Yeah,
20.
and-
Whoa, half
Wait,
of
who does he
Tyler's
play
team's-
with the bye? Who does he play
Whoa,
with the bye?
Tyler's team is also on a bye, so that could be either way.
Oh, he plays Tyler
Plays
the week
Tyler
that
week
his...
13, where the Ravens.
Okay, so
are
he's
on a
basically
bye.
got 2 weeks that he could get that 7th win.
Yeah, he has 2 opportunities.
Assuming he doesn't win this week against you,
he
but
could win this week. I think
we
should bet,
assumed things last week, and then
we have
know
shit
what
on his
happened.
running backs all year, but his 3-headed wide receivers have pulled out a win. I think they can.
Well,
Oh,
but
but
they
week-
haven't the last
week-
2 weeks.
Week
That is
13,
true.
Diggs and Adams are on a bye. That's rough.
Well, that's what Rat just said, but you
And
said
Kmet-
Tyler's
yeah.
on a bye.
Yeah, but Tyler, Lamar's on a bye, Josh Jacobs on a bye, and Mark
Here,
Andrews are on a bye.
the
that week.
reason I'm questioning with Matt is because everybody said, oh, his 3-headed monster wide receivers will carry him like they've been doing at the start of the season. But they have been on a downtrend. Besides Diggs,
Well-
Adams has had a couple bad games in a row. Thielen's had a couple bad games in a row. I mean,
think we were saying
Higgins
that
had a good game,
if-
but now he's hurt. So
If
Y'all
the wide
support his
receivers,
Zach.
we were saying that the wide receivers if they're popping off, can cover for his running backs.
Yeah, but that's my point. At the beginning of the
They
season, they
haven't been.
were, and now
Now they
they're
haven't
not.
been.
So he's on a downward trajectory that.
Yeah.
I think he also doesn't make trades, which never helps his
Well, he
team.
made
Well,
one. He made one,
Yeah,
and
he
he
did,
might
he
make
did.
another one. He doesn't respond in communication like a lot of the other people
Look,
do.
I think
He'll
he has
either
enough
decline
wins.
it or he'll accept it or he'll counter maybe.
I think
But he
he has
doesn't
enough
talk
wins, and he'll luck
about-
into a 7th win,
Okay.
and he'll
That's
make the playoffs. I
All
think
right.
it's too many wins to miss at this point.
Okay, fair enough. All right, moving on. All right, moving on to the next. This one becomes a sneaky big matchup after what
Matchup of
happened
the week.
last week.
Matchup of the week.
Rat, Swifty and Friends without the Swifty and without the Friends against Pussy. Luck of the Irish coming off one of his worst weeks last week. He now gets Rat's team, who's mainly on a bye. So big opportunity here for Pussy to get a much needed win to go to 5-5, and Rat said he's going to get that top spot, but if he loses this week, he's in serious danger of not getting that top spot. Right now, Sleeper has Pussy projected to win 108 to 102. Pussy has newly acquired Brock Purdy against Jacksonville. Tougher defense, and Purdy has been playing a little bit rough the last few weeks, so we'll see coming off the bye if he can play good. Travis Etienne also coming up a bye in that same game, so big game there for Pussy. Snow Monster Javonte Williams after his big game a couple weeks ago off bye on Monday night against Buffalo. Tough for defense to run on, so we'll see what Williams does. Demario Douglas after his okay game last week against the Colts over there in Germany. Jacoby Myers newly acquired also on Sunday night against the Jets. Had a nice game last week, but got in the end zone, but the last couple weeks the targets haven't quite been there. Jonnu Smith, so the actual tight end for the Atlanta against Arizona. Decent matchup. We'll see if Arthur Smith continues to use him instead of Pitts. Ayuk against Jacksonville, so he now has the Purdy to Ayuk connection. Bass on Monday night against Denver, and the Cowboys defense against the Giants. God, that is a great matchup. You know, it's only going to be fitting when the Cowboys defense gets like 25 points this week against Rat, who traded them away. That could be something right there. On Rat's side, he has the acquired off the waivers Heineke against Arizona. Good matchup, so I could see why Rat picked him up. James Cook on Monday night, so they both have Monday night players against Denver. God, what if it comes down to Javonte Williams versus James Cook on Monday night? That would be interesting. Breece Hall on Sunday night against the Raiders. Newly picked back up Jaden Reed against Pittsburgh. DJ Moore tomorrow night, so Rat's going to need a nice big start for him, but he doesn't have Fields back yet to throw him the ball, so that kind of downgrades Moore a little bit. Picked up Cade Otton against Tennessee. Had a huge game last week. We'll see if he can keep that going. Terry Scary McLaurin against Seattle. Aubrey against the Giants. And the Jets defense against those Raiders on Sunday night. Interesting. I am going to take Pussy, and I'm not going to say landslide, but I do think it's going to be fairly comfortable for Pussy this week. Obviously, Rat doesn't have Hill, he doesn't have Mahomes, he doesn't have Kelsey, and looking at some of these other players that he has to play, like Reed, if DJ Moore had Fields, I would like DJ Moore a lot more. K-Dot just had a huge week, so I highly
Fields
doubt
not
against...
ruled out.
Huh?
Fields has not been ruled out
Okay.
100%.
Well,
He's
yeah.
not
I
playing.
don't
He
think
was
he's gonna
doubtful
play.
today. Are you
I don't
kidding
think he's
me?
gonna play.
Hey, Coach,
Cade
that
Otton had a monster game last week, so I do not think he comes anywhere close against a much tougher Tennessee defense this week. So I don't know about that. Meanwhile, on Pussy's side, I like his pickup to try to fix his quarterback situation. I think Purdy can at least get him 15 to 20 in there, although Jacksonville has been a decent defense. Etienne, if Etienne keeps rolling, off the bye, though, is always dangerous. So running back's hot, and then they have a bye. You never know. But he's been getting in the end zone like crazy. Pussy does have some questionables with Jonnu Smith and Demario Douglas, but I do like Ayuk and Myers this week. So I'm going to take Pussy in about a 10 to 15 point victory to send Rat to 6-4. I just want to see Rat panic a little bit. That's more why I'm picking Pussy in this one. All right, Cheese, who's winning?
This will be the week that sends Rat to the panic trade mode. He put together a solid bye-week squad, I think, but Pusa's got some really good matchups, which will help.
Yeah.
Especially
Okay.
Dallas D is gonna eat. Etienne is going to pop off.
Yep.
I don't have faith in Jalen Reed or DJ Moore to do anything. I do like Scary Terry, but James Cook is mid. Brees could be. I don't know. Foos has got a lot more, at least for this week. He's got some good matchups.
Okay.
So it'll be lower scoring as well. But,
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Bill, who's winning?
Pusa by a landslide.
Ooh, landslide. I thought about saying landslide, but I stuck with 10 to 15 just because I look at some of these players on Pussy's team and I don't really like them at all. So, but by a landslide, interesting. All right, Rad. Are you somehow gonna pull an Ernie and put together some bye week squad and pull out a victory like Ernie did last week against you?
I am sneaking out with the win.
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
DJ Moore will have a revenge game against the Panthers.
Okay.
He will shit on them tomorrow.
Okay.
And it's going to come down to Monday night, like you said. Like, it could come down to Monday night with Javonte Williams and Cook.
Okay.
I will say something. If they use James Cook right, Denver Broncos are the worst run defense we have seen in possibly a long time. And I think he will come out with a huge game to clutch up for me and grab that win.
Okay.
It will come down to Monday night.
Interesting. Alrighty. All right, we will see. That's a big matchup there. All right, moving on to the next one. We have Ernie versus Tyler. Tyler 3-6 after that big win last week, looking for another one to keep himself above that last place. Ernie, after his big bye week last week at 5-4, looking to stack another win and almost get him in the secure playoff. Ernie right now projected to lose 99 to 117. It's really that big of a margin? Really? Ernie's team only projected for 99? What the fuck? All right, he has Dobbs starting against the Saints. So interesting call there. He's going with Dobbs instead of Trevor Lawrence against the 49ers. I do not know about that, but he must love Dobbs. McCaffrey against Jacksonville. Obviously, coming off bye, McCaffrey should be good. Hunt against Baltimore. We'll see if Hunt can get in the end zone because he's literally a touchdown or bust. Addison against the Saints as well. So he's going for the Dobbs to Addison connection against that Saints defense. I do not know about that. JSN against Washington could be decent. Laporta against the Chargers on that Sunday game. That could be very good coming off the bye for Laporta. Dobbs against Pittsburgh. Tucker against Cleveland. And Cincinnati's defense against Houston and CJ Stroud, who just put up all those points. That is ballsy to start that defense after what we just saw from CJ Stroud. On Tyler's side, he's got Lamar Jackson against Cleveland, Eckler against Detroit, Jacobs against the Jets. Hollywood Brown is in there against Atlanta. I hope if Kyler Murray doesn't play, I hope he changes that. But we'll see with Kyler Murray back if Hollywood gets an uptick. Hopkins against Tampa Bay, Andrews against Cleveland, Drake London back in there as long as he plays against Arizona, McPherson against Houston, and Tampa's defense against that Titans Will Levis season. Interesting plays there. Really? So I guess he does have Prescott against the Giants, but he's never going to play him, I guess, over Lamar. But I'd maybe consider it. Lamar's had a couple bad games, and he's facing a tough Cleveland defense. Although if you start Lamar, or if you sit Lamar the one week that he pops off, you feel like crap. But Prescott against the Giants, I don't know. He's got Madison on the bench. Who's his wide receiver choices? I guess he doesn't have one because Devontae Smith's on a bye, so he's got to go with those three. All right. I think this will be a lower scoring performance. I don't know what Ernie is doing starting Dobbs against the Saints. I get it. Dobbs looked good last week at the end of the game when he came in, but you got Trevor Lawrence. It's not like the 49ers defense has been playing well. You got to start Trevor Lawrence, but I don't understand Dobbs. If it was a different defense, the Saints defense is not that bad, so I don't understand it. I think if Ernie doesn't put Trevor Lawrence in, he may also have Connor possibly as an option if he comes back, which could boost him a little bit. But I am going to take Tyler. I just like some of Tyler's players and his overall lineup just slightly better than Ernie's. I do think it will be close, but I think it will be low scoring. But I think Tyler will pick up a win here unless Ernie makes a couple changes. Cheese, who's winning?
I really need Tyler to win here.
Okay.
Dilute the playoff pool even more. I need everyone to go down to 5 wins.
Okay.
Dobbs, I think Ernie's hoping he's just gonna run a shit ton.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's a tough matchup. Kareem Hunt, I hate. It's a terrible matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Addison's also tough. JSN has actually been pretty good, at least recently, so that could be
Yep.
something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like Tyler's just got the stronger team.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar is going to do his thing. Eckler's going to feast. Jacobs, it's going to be, Hollywood Brown is like, but, doesn't really have any other options with the bye weeks.
Yep.
Maybe you could put in Madison? I
Yeah.
don't know. But I feel like Tyler's just got a stronger team.
Okay. All right, Rat.
Well, after losing to Ernie's, I don't even know what it was, just the team that he threw together that beat me.
Yep.
Some of these calls are questionable from Ernie. It doesn't make sense that he's been running T-Law all year. Maybe he can run Dobbs when Jefferson's back, but I don't think it's time to run him yet.
Yep.
Tyler, I think he can make the right questions this time. He always has the ideas of putting Brown in or London. Like he always has a thing, but I think it does work this week.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't
And
really have a choice this week, so.
oh yeah, but I do think he comes out with a victory.
Okay. Bill.
I agree with you and Cheese saying that some of Ernie's players are kind of questionable, like Dobbs. There's no way he's going to do well against the New Orleans defense. And then Kareem Hunt, definitely not. He needs Connor back for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If he swaps those two, then he might have a chance, but I think Tyler's got the better matchups. I think
Okay.
Tyler wins.
Yep, I agree with that. We'll see if Connor comes back and if Ernie makes the right choices on there. All right, moving on to the next one. This is a big matchup. Pook at 4-5 versus Bill at 5-4. So big matchup here. Pook looking to get another win here to get himself an even better chance of making the playoffs. Bill looking to get a win to furthermore solidify his spot in the possible playoffs. At the moment, Sleeper likes Bill 118 to 106. Pook has his hot CJ Stroud after his huge game against Cincinnati. Tougher defense this week, so we'll see how Stroud does after that big week. Bijan Robinson against the Cardinals. If there was ever a week that Bijan was going to do something big, it would be this week against that horrible Cardinals team. Something tells me, though, he won't get the touches and the opportunity to do that well, so I don't know. Barkley against the Cowboys. Big game there for Barkley. I don't know about that, as the Cowboys have been pretty stingy. Olave against Minnesota could be decent after his big game last week. Evans against Tennessee. Evans, we'll see if he can get into the end zone. Schultz as well against Cincinnati. After Schultz's big game, we'll see how that works. Lockett against Washington. Good matchup there for Lockett, assuming he plays and is all good to go. Gay against New England. And the Saints against that Joshua Dobbs team that we just talked about. On Bill's side, he's got Josh Tannehill on Monday night against Denver. That's a good matchup. Buffalo desperately needs a win after losing some games and not even in the playoffs if it started today. So they need a big win. I expect Josh Allen to perform very well against Denver and have a big points on Monday night for Bill if he even needs them at that point. Jonathan Taylor over there in Germany against New England. New England always likes to try to take away the big players. We'll see if Taylor gets affected by that or not, although the Patriots have been pretty bad this year, so I expect Taylor to do well. Kamara against Minnesota, kind of an offer week for Kamara last week as he didn't get as many targets. We'll see if that returns against Minnesota's defense.
Hill.
Yeah, fuck Taysom Hill. We'll see how that all works out. But Kamara should do well against Minnesota. Keenan Allen against Detroit, as we already talked about, that could be a shootout, so that's a good matchup there. Pittman as well. So some Sunday night. Bill, are you going to wake up that early for the game on Sunday morning? Because you got quite a few players. Pittman.
I'm up at 6 a.m. every morning.
Oh, well, then you'll be watching. Pittman against the Patriots as well. Kincaid on Monday night, so they Allen to Kincaid so this could come down to Monday night for Bill with those two players. Nico Collins in there against Cincinnati. It was a huge Tank Dell game last week, but Nico did also get in the end zone, so we'll see if that continues to be hot for Houston. I do like, though, the Stroud. If it's Stroud to Collins, then at least Pook's negating some of the Stroud points. Folk against Tampa Bay and Baltimore against that Cleveland defense. Deshaun Watson obviously has had his bad games this year. Baltimore's defense is very good, so I expect that to be a lower scoring game where Baltimore gets some good points. I think this has a potential to be one of the higher scoring matchups of the week, just like Bill was in last week and Pook was in last week. But this time, instead of Pook pulling out the high scoring victory, I think Bill gets the victory. I just like some of Bill's players and matchups a little bit more than Pook's. I think the real difference is going to be the running backs. I think Bill's running backs are going to be the difference in the matchup. I think Kamara's due for a big game after a down one. I think Taylor's going to have a big game overseas, and I just don't think Bijan Robinson's going to come anywhere close to matching what either of them do. Barkley could get a lot of checkdowns in the second half if they're down huge to Dallas, but I expect them to be down big, so then they won't be able to run the ball, so maybe he just gets checkdowns and gets like 15 points, but I don't think he's going to pop off for anything huge. So I think that's going to be the difference in why Bill wins. All right, Cheese, who's winning?
Well, last week Pook's team got bailed by CJ
Mm-hmm.
and Schultz.
Yep.
The rest of his team was mediocre at best.
Okay.
And while I think Stroud has really good upside, he will putting up 40 again.
Yep.
Against Cincinnati, their defense has been looking really solid, like pretty solid recently.
Yep.
And Bill will just chug along, put up another 120, 130,
Okay.
get the win. So.
All right. Pook did say before he left that he was not going to win this week. He couldn't remember if he played Bill or Tyler, but he said he wasn't going to win either way. So
it's not like he has players on buys. He's just admitting Bill's the better team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, Rat, who's winning?
Bill will win by 1 point.
1 point. Wow. Okay. High scoring 1 point affair or low scoring 1 point?
130 to 129.
Okay, nice. All right. All right, Bill, are you getting this win over Pook?
Of course, I'm gonna get that revenge win.
Of course, revenge win.
Of course, but I agree.
Is it a revenge win because he knocked you out last year? Is that why you're saying?
Yeah, that .04 or whatever it was.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm totally getting the win this time.
All right.
I don't think CJ Stroud does very well against Cincinnati.
Okay. All right, fair enough. All right, so that is the matchups for this week. We will see how it all plays out, and we'll catch you here next week for the show.
I feel like we skipped a whole matchup.
Did we?
I feel like.
Oh, yes, we did. Zach and Zombie. I completely forgot. All right, real quickly. Zach versus Zombie. Both. Look at are these projected scores right? Jesus Christ.
Zach doesn't have a lineup.
Huh? Oh, he is.
Zach is missing a running back and a defense.
Oh, okay. So actually, but is Zombies right?
Yeah, Zombie's on Apocalypse.
Oh, he's got all his buys. Oh my God. This is actually a big matchup because Zach desperately needs a win, and he's actually going to be favorited in this matchup to beat Zombie. So this is a great week for Zach to play Zombie and possibly get this big win that he needs. I'm going to say it right now, if he does not pull off this win against Zombie this week, he is getting last place definitely. Because that would mean his team shit the bed completely and only scored like 70 or 80 points, and somehow Zombie scored like 90-some and win. Because I don't see how Zombie scores any more than 90 points this week with this lineup. He has Bryce Young tomorrow night against Chicago. So this matchup could possibly be over already tomorrow if Bryce Young shits the bed like he did last week with 3 picks. Brian Robinson against Seattle. I don't know. And Gibbs. So he's playing both running backs against Seattle. Okay. Good luck. Debo back against Jacksonville. We'll see how he does in the first game back. Tank Dell against Cincinnati after his big game. We'll see if he can put up another one. I don't know. Kyle Pitts against Arizona should be good. And he's rocking 2 tight ends with Taysom Hill against Minnesota. 2 tight ends has rarely, I think it's only worked 1 time ever. So good luck with that Zombie. I mean, I'm not even going to go to that side. On Zach's side, Howell against Seattle. So he's hoping for Howell to throw to the receivers and not to both of Zombie's running backs. We'll see Mostert on bye. Who does he have? Sanders tomorrow night, if he puts him in, I guess. That's what he'll have to do.
He should put Sanders in. That's a decent matchup.
We'll see if he actually pays attention enough to do it tomorrow.
He really should.
Yeah, or he'll have to pick up a running back. Rachaad White against Tennessee. He's been on fire. We'll see if that continues. Michael 0 Point Thomas. We'll see if he can not get 0 this week against Minnesota. Cooper, after his big game, though, faces Baltimore. Kittle back against Jacksonville. Jamar Chase against Houston. We'll see. We expect a bounce back game there. Carlson against the Jets, and we'll see what defense he picks up. So he's in the similar boat as Matt. Doesn't make any waiver claims, and we'll see what he does towards the end of the week, if he changes his team or what he picks up on defense. God, I think this might be the lowest scoring matchup of the week. I think it definitely will be, and I don't understand. I wish Zombie was here so he could explain how he thinks two running backs from the same team and
He has no other option. He
two
has
tight
no other
ends. Well, there's not somebody else. I mean, is Roshan Johnson playing tomorrow night?
Yes,
So he doesn't want to
maybe.
start him at least to give him a second running back from a different team.
I would have started Roshan.
I don't see how that's gonna work. I don't like Bryce Young at all. I don't like them. I don't really like Tank Dell after his huge week last week. He's gonna come down to earth. We know about Pitts, Taysom Hill, I guess, but I just
Hill's been good.
he's been good, but I don't know if he can be consistently good.
Zombie's a fake
I don't see how this lineup wins, even against Zach's mediocre team. I think Zach gets the victory. All right, Cheese.
Zach will win, not because he has a good week, because Zombie will break my record.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask at the end, is anybody predicting Zombie to score less than 41 points with this lineup? Wow.
Look,
Well, if he's breaking a record, he has to get like 2 points or less from Bryce Young.
Look, here's what's gonna happen. Bryce Young's gonna shit the bed. Okay. The Indianapolis defense is gonna get low-key lit up. The Patriots
Who are they
are gonna score a lot of
facing?
points. The Patriots are
I
gonna
don't know
score a lot of
about that,
points.
but okay.
Dicker, the kicker, is gonna do nothing. He'll get only extra points. Taysom Hill is gonna have his first bad week in forever. Kyle Pitts will continue being shit. Tank Dell get concussed again for 0 points.
Oh, okay.
Debo Samuel will get injured again for 0 points. The running backs will combine for 5 points. There you go. There's the record.
Okay. I mean, how you just explained all that, I don't think that's that far off of possibly having a chance to happen.
Concussed, but I feel like the Washington running backs could combine for like 11 points at best.
Yeah.
And then you could get the tight ends could shit the bed. It's very
Yeah.
possible.
I
But
think
not
it's
winning.
possible. I think there's a slim chance of that happening.
Unless Zach's players die, Zach's gonna win.
Okay. All right. Rat.
I'm coming back for first.
Okay. Can I just ask you one thing? Seeing Zombie ahead of you at 7-2, and then seeing this lineup, does that make you sick at all? Like, how does a team at 7-2? I understand he's got all his guys on bye, but how do you have this bad of a lineup for a week when you're 7-2?
Because Zombie has the lowest points against. He gets Mickey Mouse victories.
Zombie is a fraud team.
Exactly.
Okay. I just don't understand how it's this bad.
And he's a fake fan. That's throwing Quentin Johnson.
You think you would manage a little bit better where you know this week's coming.
Margin win.
Largest win. Wow. So you think Zach has another good week like he had last week?
Yeah. I predicted Zach to not have any more wins, but this is should be the easiest win of the season for him. And yeah, Zombie's cooked.
Okay. All right. Bill.
I think this matchup entirely depends on if Jamar Chase plays or not.
Oh, okay.
So if Jamar Chase does not play, I think Zombie wins 85-83.
Okay, fair enough. So low
But
score.
if he does play, I think Zach wins 87-85.
Wait. So you're saying Chase gets 5 points?
He's saying Chase will get 5 points more than whoever Zach will start instead.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he would play probably Zay Flowers, maybe, which they play Cleveland.
Zach's projected for 93 without a running back or a defense.
Yeah, he's going to be projected as a huge favorite.
He's going to project for like 110 probably, give or take.
Yeah.
I still think
I
he's
will
low
say
scoring.
something though. I was projected for about plus 40, so nothing matters at this point.
Projections are just projections. That's why when people say, well, the projection said this, so I should play this guy, it doesn't always work like that. So, as we've seen with Tyler many times this year, he's talked about in parties before how, well, the Vegas had the over-under at this, so that's why I went with this guy. Well, that doesn't always work like that. So, okay, interesting. This matchup is interesting because that lineup from Zombie. Does anybody else agree with Cheese that he may score less than 41 points this week?
It's possible.
No? Okay.
It's possible.
I
wouldn't say likely, but I think it's possible.
Let's do the math here. give Bryce Young 8, give Brian Robinson 7,
No.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
15.
Give him
Yep.
8,
give him
It's
Antonio Gibson 2 or 3,
2 or 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's 18.
give Debo 10,
It's 28.
That's wishful.
give Tank Dell about 7 or 8,
Okay, that's 35.
give Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts could get 5 to 7.
Okay, well, right there is already over 41.
Well, there you go.
So we need.
Well, what about the
look,
defense? You think the defense gets
that
positive
could
points?
get negative.
I think the defense actually gets him 10 plus.
Oh, well, then yeah, he's easily breaking it then.
I
So,
think the
He
Washington
needs the
running back
kicker to
will
get
be
like
good.
nothing. He needs the defense to go negative, and then he needs
don't
like
think
the
he breaks
player,
it.
the performances that you just
Well,
mentioned.
I think that Kyle Pitts and Taysom Hill could both combine
Okay.
for like.
I'm gonna
I'll
make
take them.
I'm gonna make a prediction. I don't think that record is ever being broken unless somebody is inactive and doesn't start players that are ruled out or
I
something.
mean,
like
I was
that.
forced to
think
start a
that's the only
player
way.
due to an injury who I knew was going to get 0. So
Yeah, well, I mean,
it all
that's-
came together to make that happen. It all came together.
And I know you would love nothing more than Zombie taking that record.
No,
back, but I
I'm
don't think it's
perfectly
that.
fine with having the highest scoring week and the
okay.
lowest scoring week.
All right, well, we'll see if the one holds. We know the one's definitely holding. We don't know about that other one holding though. So that other one,
165 is the
yeah,
number to
that's
beat.
not that
Unless
much. We've had big scores
We have?
each season,
We have,
way
okay.
more than that each season. So we'll see. This season's been a little bit lower scoring for
This
fantasy.
season's been very low scoring.
Yes. So, all right. Well, we will see. Good luck to you, everyone. Make sure the people that don't have their rosters fully set at the moment, make sure you be paying attention. I'm Zach. I'm Matt, and get those rosters set by
Or
the
don't.
play.
Or don't, Matt.
Yeah. And we'll
See
catch you
you.
back here next week.
Stop taking care